Okay. Now SAS is primarily a statistical analysis software. So the strength of SAS is statistical analysis as opposed to visualizations. Okay, that is a strength of Tableau. Okay. Now Tableau would do some statistics, but its primary strength is visualization. Similarly, SAS will do some visualization, but statistical analysis is its strength. So here, this is how SAS is set up. All right. So under SAS, we have several icons, right? So the ones that are important to us. Okay. So this is what we're going to be using. So there are two things which are important. One is SAS Enterprise Guide, and the other is SAS Enterprise Minor Workstation. Now the SAS Enterprise Minor we will be covering in the next course, 40 to 70. Okay, we are not going to get into Enterprise Minor at all in this class. So in this class we're going to use the Enterprise Guide, okay, which is more a statistical analysis software. Enterprise Minor is data mining software. There are some similarities, but typically the Enterprise Minor is designed for easy data analytic mining tasks. Okay, and then the one other thing that you should be aware of is this SAS 9.4. Then there is SAS Studio. Okay, SAS 9.4 and SAS Studios are different ways of accessing the same thing that we do in Enterprise Guide. Well, let me back up a little. SAS 9.4, that is called the base SAS. That is the base SAS engine that does all the work. Okay. Now, you can directly go to SAS, base SAS. If you double click that, it will open up your SAS window for you. And then you can do all this statistical analysis work that you want in here, but this requires a little bit of coding on your part. So you need to know SAS coding, and that can be a pain, right? Okay, so SAS, in its infinite mercy for the rest of us, they came up with some intermediate buffer products that help communication between the user and the base SAS. So when people talk about SAS, sometimes they would say base SAS, and you need to know what that is. That is a base SAS is the underlying engine that does all the work. Okay. So what is Enterprise Guide, or what is Enterprise Minor? Okay. So now let's get into Enterprise Guide and SAS Studio also. Okay. Now Enterprise Guide is kind of an interpreter between the hard to communicate base and the user. So it's kind of a user-friendly interface between the engine and the user. So things are a lot more easy to do with Enterprise Guide. Okay, so you set up, you set up your work in this window, and then when you click run, okay, so when you run the program, then Enterprise Guide will take everything that you have set up here, translate it into a language that the base SAS will understand, and pass it to base SAS. The base SAS will do all the work and give the results back to Enterprise Guide. Now Enterprise Guide will then take that result and then present it to you in the way you want. So that's what Enterprise Guide does. Enterprise Guide by itself doesn't do any analysis. It is simply a messenger between you and base SAS. So that's what Enterprise Guide is. Okay. All right. So now let us. When you open this, you have a new project, and there are several windows that are open. Okay. So you have a project tree window. Okay. And then the process flow. And here, for each project, you can have as many process flows as you want. Okay. And they will be displayed here, and then task status will be displayed here, and here are some of there are several options down here, and this is the one that we will be using mostly. This is where the data will come from. Server is a server for data. Okay. So now let's look at the Word document that I have provided. So we will go through this. So we have a new project. Suppose if you want a new project, not this one, you want a new one. So you've been working on this. So now just assume that we did some work. Now you're done with it and you want to start a new project. Okay, so go to new project. So this will give you a new project window like this. Okay, and then you can move around these windows and adjust it to what you like. Okay, and here let's look at how to open a data file. Suppose you have an Excel data file and you want to open it. So go to new, all right, data. Open data. Okay. Open data. All right. So these are the file types it will look for. Okay. The SAS-7B-DAT. That's your SAS data file. Now we're going to go to the folder where we save the files, which is in C drive MGT4260. And say we want customers, right? Customers. So that's a SAS data file. Click open. Okay. Now you see the SAS data file up here. Now if you double click that, you will go back to the process flow window. Process flow window, now you see an icon appears for the data file. Okay. So SAS Enterprise Guide has placed this icon there, and that tells us that data is available for us to use. Okay. You double click that again and your data window shows up, and here you need to note the icons that you see by the side of each column. Okay, you see a circle with 1, 2, 3, and that indicates that this is a numeric field. Okay, and here is a triangle, and this shows that it is a alphanumeric field. Okay, label, text field. Okay, and then you see a little calendar here. That shows that this is a date field, right? Now there is one thing that we can do to get an idea about the entire data set. Before you start any analysis, you need to understand the data. So the SAS gives you an easy way to understand data, and that is characterized data. Okay, what characterized data will do is it will take each and every column, okay, and it will give you a summary of what that column is about. So click that, and now this is the data file. So select that, okay, and we want summary report. And here, take a look at the library. We will talk more about this. By default, all the items or data that you create in a project will be saved in this library called work, and that is a temporary library. So once you finish and exit SAS, everything that is in that library is gone. So if you want to save something for later, then you have to click browse and save it somewhere else. Okay? I'll talk about that a little later. So right now let's just leave it as that, because we can always recreate the characterized output. Okay. Now the next screen tells you maximum number of unique categorical values to be reported per variable. So this means there are sometimes a categorical variable. Okay, if you have only X number of unique values, a column has only 10 unique values, for example. You have a data set of say 60,000 records, and a given column has only 10 unique values. Then you can say, okay, if that is the case, then consider that column as a categorical column. And this is a default value up to which you will consider a column to be a categorical column. So if you leave it at 30, up to 30, the column will be considered a categorical column, and if it has 31 or more unique values, then it will be considered a numeric column. So we want to change that to 15. Click finish. So now we have the output. Let's look at the process flow again. So process flow has put an icon here that says what action is taking place. So customer data is getting fed into this, and characterized data is the action that is taking place, and it has produced 3 different reports. So these 2 reports are data files saved in the work. So if you go to the work library, you will see these are the 2 files that SAS has created. We can take a look at what's in that. So if you double click, it will give you so here is the first one and here is the second one. Okay. But what we want are the results. So you click the results tab, and you see for each and every variable in the data set, a summary is produced. Okay. So if you have a categorical variable, okay, you will see a frequency distribution. So you have customer age group, there are 4 of them. So if you go back to the input data and you see customer age group, so here is customer age group. So the age group is a non-numeric variable, and the result shows there are 4 different unique values. These are the counts and these are the percentages. Now customer country, again these are the possible values, frequency count, percentages. Now customer first name, okay, these are the values, and there are a lot of them, so it only lists a few. And remember, characterized data doesn't care what the variable is. It will go and give you a summary for each and every column, even if you don't want it. Who wants a summary of the first name? Nobody wants a summary of the first name, but it will give it to you because it is part of characterized. And for numeric variables, so these are for non-numeric variables. For numeric variables, well, we are still in non-numeric. So customer gender and club member, the last name, and the customer name, and the customer type, all of that. So now here we see the numeric variables. So numeric variables, it will tell you how many values are there, how many observations, number of missing values, sum, minimum, mean, median, max, and standard deviation of mean. Standard deviation of mean is what? S over square root of n. So that's what is given for numeric variables. And we have customer age. Now customer ID, who cares about me or customer ID? But still, characterized will give it to you because it does the summarization for all the columns. So customer birth date, and then for categorical variables, SAS also produces bar charts like these. Okay. So characterize task generates all of these different outputs that give you a quick glance as to what the data contains. It gives you a quick overview of the data. Now we can change the name of the icons. Okay, like instead of characterized data, you can say summary of customers or something like that. Now, this is very important as we build a larger and larger process flow. The names of these icons would become like query 1 and query 2 and so on, or regression 1, regression 2, and frequency distribution 1, frequency distribution 2, and things like that, which is completely unreadable, and therefore, okay, pay attention to this. Okay, any icons like this in the process flow, you must rename them appropriately to indicate what that particular task is about. Okay, in your homework, if you don't rename something, I will not grade that part. Okay, only properly renamed process flow will be graded. Otherwise, I will not grade that part. Okay, so keep that in mind. And now you can save the project, okay, and you can save it anywhere you want. As I said, I'm going to save it in the same place like before, which is C4260, and I'll create a folder called projects, and I'll name it SAS EG1 chapter 1. Okay. Now let's close this project, okay, and start a new one.